My maiden name was Dorothy Sims.
Did you have a middle name?
May.
Okay. And did you have any nicknames growing up?
Just Dot.
Dot.
Well, my grandparents, uh, although I was born in Youngstown, Ohio, and we lived there for a while, and then we moved to Pittsburgh. Um, my mother always made a home for me with other elderly people because she had to work. And so we just moved when she moved from one job to the other, we moved to another place. And I don't remember my father because he was killed during the First World War. And it was just my mother and I because I don't have any sisters and brothers. And black kids, And then they used to tease me because I didn't talk like them. Like my mother always told me, remember the ing when you talk. Like don't say coming, don't say doing, and that just kind of sets you aside. So that's what I tried to do. We were integrated, but there were, like, when I graduated, there were 400 kids that, almost 400 kids that graduated, and only 4 of them were black, and they were all girls, So I'm saying this is the way it was when I was growing up at most of the schools. I might be the only black person in the class, but it didn't bother me because everybody treated me normally. I was only 16. I just turned 16 when I graduated from high school. And well, actually I was, well, I was almost 16 because my birthday was in August and I graduated in June, and then my mother died in November. All boom, 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 had blood disease. She had like blood poisoning or septicemia, they called it, We lived with these people who were college educated, and they were trying to get me into Western Reserve College, and they both passed away before all of that came to fruition. So I didn't go. I guess at the time I probably would have been interested in being a teacher because, that was about the most that we could do when I was growing up. Where did you get these questions? I can't remember anything growing up. Any world. I can't remember any of those things. When I lived in Newcastle, that was when I had my first job. And I worked at this theater, and I worked in the ladies' room in the theater to keep people from writing on the walls, and I only did that like after school. And then I worked for at this funeral home, and the woman that lived there was pregnant, and she wanted me to just be with her while her husband was conducting funerals, you know, and I was just more or less a companion. My favorite job was when I worked at the post office because I met a lot of people. Because actually, when I was growing up, since I had no sisters and brothers, I was a loner, you know what I mean? And I liked to read. And so when I started at the post office, I had a lot of friends and I had a lot of people because when you're living with older people in their homes, you can't invite your friends to their house, you know, even though they were wonderful people and they did not care. But my mother said, uh, don't bring any kids into the house, you know, since it's not our house. So, like I said, I spent a lot of time just reading. It was a bookworm.
Yes.
I was a clerk. That was my title, but uh, I just handled the mail, and then I worked in the uh, I can't think of the name of the. Um, there's special mail, and I had my own computer that uh, I had to take the mail from the computer and put it in envelopes and send it out on time, you know. Books, because I read everything, even the dictionary. Now there's no fun reading in that. And encyclopedias, uh, just to have something to read, you know, none of it stuck with me. In grade school.
Okay. Here in Pittsburgh or in Youngstown?
Pittsburgh.
Okay. And how old were you?
When we first met,
Mm-hmm.
oh, gee, I must have been maybe 11 or 12.
Oh.
I moved away as usual. I moved to Newcastle, and I came to Pittsburgh to visit some friends, and uh, he and his sister and some of their cousins were walking down the street, and I was on the bus, and I recognized them, and I got off the bus at the next stop, and we talked, and they invited me to go to Kennywood with them, and so actually we met, and then we separated more or less, and then met again, but that was the I would say the final meeting. My mother died, and he and his sisters were so compassionate with me and took me under their wing. And we were planning to marry in June, but after she died in October, in November, we decided to get married because I would have been alone.
So when did you guys get married? What's your wedding date?
November 11th. No, we had an actual ceremony in the house where I was living. I can't complain about the children at all because uh, they did as they were told, you know, and I tried to teach them to be gentlemen and ladies. And uh, they both went to school, um, and I'd say they were relatively good children because people who knew them and know them now, that's what they will say if you ask.
So they
Yeah,
played together.
because I would not have it otherwise. I think getting married and having children. All get together and do things and go on trips and then play games. And when the kids were all growing up, we would all gather and eat. And we'd always play some kind of fun game. And then just socializing with one another that a lot of families don't do anymore. Um, the fact that I didn't have any sisters and brothers, but your grandfather had, there was seven of them, so they took me in like I was a member of the family. And well, I was, but I'm saying um, I got along well with all of them. And yet, my grandfather had, there was seven of them, so they took me in like I was a member of the family. And well, I was, but I'm saying um, I got along well with all of them. And yet, when some of the other brothers and sisters had girlfriends, um, they would always find something wrong with them. But because I remember saying to them at one time, well, gee, if you think that person is what they are, what do you think about me? But they always said, oh, we don't put you in that class. We know you're the right person for him. We would do that after they went to bed, and then they couldn't come down until they'd gotten up, made their beds, excuse me, had breakfast, and then they would come down.
Now, whose idea was it to decorate the tree Christmas Eve? Yours?
That was your grandfather, of
Okay.
course. Oh, other than the fact that I love them all, um, I hope I hope it was the kind of mother that they could be proud of. I would tell them to listen to their parents and try not to be the one that knows everything, and because they have a lot to learn, and they also need to respect and love one another.